Welcome everybody, thanks for tuning in for another video today. We are very excited to announce that we have partnered up once again with CompetitiveCyclist.com. Every month we are going to put together a whole bunch of components, gear, test products that we have that the folks over at Competitive sell, and try to make a fun, educational, informational video that shares our reviews and impressions on a lot of products. What's really awesome about working with Competitive Cyclists is we can give you guys a discount. Use Loam Wool 15. Being that they are an independent retailer, they are brand agnostic, right? So we can get a whole bunch of products and say exactly what we want and feel and believe about those products. They've got really awesome gearheads online, so if you want to go do some shopping, you have questions, they've got a really cool little chat bar on the side. You can ask compatibility on hubs, brake rotors, whatever you want to do. So definitely some neat features, and we are excited to be partnering up with Competitive Cyclist again. Today, we are going to be looking at 5 carbon wheel options that we have been putting through the ringer with lots of test miles. A lot of times people look at carbon as the way to go, right? It's expensive, it's lighter, it's stiffer, they look flashy. And while those are generally true conceptions about carbon wheels, we're not totally convinced and always wishing that we had carbon wheels on all of our bikes, but we'll save that for another day. When you are looking at making a wheel purchase, there's a couple of things that you're gonna look at. And I'm gonna pull 2 examples out, right? So here we've got a ZIPP 303 Moto wheel, and then we've got a set of WeAre1 Unions here. Things that you're gonna really look at, obviously, is your intended application, your use. Are you a enduro or downhill rider? Are you a lightweight XC guy who's just looking to drop weight? Are you someone who's in the bike park or shredding new school trails with big berms and great traction, and you need lateral stiffness to keep that bike snappy out of corners? Or are you someone who's in Phoenix or Southern California where traction is hard to find and you need some compliance in a wheel set that's going to give you traction, safety, and is going to reduce the chances of pinch flats and ending your ride early? All right, so once you've identified what level of wheel you need, XC to DH, you can really start looking at some of the factors that are gonna kind of be indicative of how that wheel set rides. One of the first things to look at is your inner rim width. Now this is the distance on the inside, and what that's gonna do is sort of tell you what the ideal tire width is. If you've got a very narrow rim, you're not gonna wanna run a 2.8 tire on there. If you've got a really wide rim, you're not gonna want to run a 2.2 tire on there. So these are all gonna be factors worth identifying. Now, when you get to that kind of 30 millimeter width, I would say is pretty standard for most aggressive trail to light enduro kind of wheel sets. Maybe up to a 34 might be on the little bit wider side. And those are usually going to work well for 2.4 to 2.6 inch tires, which I think is going to be the vast majority of mountain bikers in today's day and age. Once you look at rim width, your next thing is going to be to look at the depth of the rim. Now, if you look at both of these, you're going to see a very different profile. This is the depth of the rim. The ZIPP 30 Motos, obviously very thin. Most of the other wheels you're gonna see in this roundup and just out on the trail are gonna have a much deeper profile. And essentially what that's gonna mean for the most part is a much stiffer wheel, especially vertically. From there, you're gonna look at your driver body, whether that's microspline, XD, the older style Shimano. Then you're gonna need to look at rotor. Are you going 6-bolt or center lock? Those are all important things to look at and make sure that your compatibility will match your bike. And again, if you don't have that comfortability or knowledge, the gearhead chat feature at Competitive Cyclist is really neat. So first up, we're gonna go with the Reserve 30 wheels. We've ridden a ton of Reserve wheels, from the 30 Enduros to the downhill wheels. We've had them on a whole lot of Santa Cruz test bikes, from e-bikes to shorter travel, little shred sleds. So we have a good experience on these wheels. They are built to withstand a lot of abuse. They have a $1,399 price tag. They have a 30 millimeter internal rim width and a 22 millimeter depth. Now these are a 28 spoke build on the Reserve 30s, and they weigh in at around 1,810 grams. They are designed to be a burly, enduro, all mountain wheel set, stiff, robust, and built to charge a lot of hard terrain. With a lifetime warranty on them, again, that kind of just further solidifies this as a burly wheel set that will do it all. They are stiff, reliable. The components on the hubs, you can get a couple of different options there. These have the Industry 9 hubs on them. So obviously they spin smoothly, they're durable, reliable, and all the things that you really need out of a wheel. Next up, we are moving to the Reynolds Blacklabel wheels. There are a lot of different offerings in this Blacklabel family. They've got both a 28 millimeter or 34 millimeter internal rim width. They've got e-bike options. They've got lighter weight XC trail options. So you name it, Reynolds has an option for you. And we really like these wheels from a durability and robustness standpoint. They're not the best riding wheels. I would definitely say that these are very stiff, especially vertically, which could be a bad thing or not, depending on what you want out of your ride. Not the stiffest here, but they're definitely a very stiff wheel. Along with the two internal width options, these wheels have a 29 millimeter depth. And again, when you have a deeper dished wheel, you are going to have more material, which is going to make it a stiffer wheel as well. So things to consider. But it has a lifetime warranty. They weigh 1,660 grams, so they are roughly 200 grams lighter than those Reserve wheels, and they are also $600–700 more expensive. So what Reynolds does with the Blacklabel wheels that is different than many of their other offerings is that they use their MR5 or Mountain Rim 5 carbon technique. They are using 5 different carbon matrices in 5 different areas of this wheel. So it is a very complicated wheel to make. And I would also say that it's probably one of the most durable and robust wheels of this roundup. You're gonna pay for it, but they are one of the lightest and burliest wheels that we've ridden and is in this shootout, if you want to call it that. They're very snappy and they are very reliable. We've had quite a few of these wheels on a lot of bikes over the years. And that particular set has been on our Canyon Spectral, getting the crap beat out of it for almost a year. So next up, we are kind of gonna go to, I don't wanna say the total opposite end of the spectrum, but pretty close. These might be our second favorite wheel set in this roundup here. They are the Roval Control SL wheels. They are definitely gonna be the lightest wheels in this roundup here. They come in at 1,240 grams. It is worth noting they have a 275-pound rider weight limit. While they are designed to be more of a cross-country to trail wheel set, we've had 2 sets of these and have really tried very hard to put these things outside of their comfort zone. We even have a set on a Kenevo SL, which is like a 38-pound e-bike, and they're still spinning. Major props to Roval for making a cross-country wheel set that is built to handle some serious abuse. I gotta say the vertical compliance on this wheel is really impressive, and while it's definitely not gonna be the wheel for everybody, you know, the guys maybe that are shredding bike park or up in the, Bellingham, Squamish area that are just shrouping berms with like super great traction. They might be a little flimsy for that. I think they're gonna be really good for guys that like compliance, they like a smoother ride. Major props to the Control SLs, big fans. So the next wheel set up are the WeAre1 Unions. These are an aggressive enduro wheel set. They're made in Canada, which is pretty cool. We always love, stuff that's made here in North America, and think it's really cool that the manufacturing aspect of it is happening pretty locally. Designed to be an aggressive enduro wheel set, robust, stiff, and burly. Now the WeAre1s have a 30 millimeter internal width with a 21 millimeter depth. There are a variety of hub options available. These have the Industry 9 1-to-1s. They've got Hydra options. They've got Onyx options, you name it. You can pick a wheel set that's in your price point from $13.99 like these are, up to I think $2,000 if you want to go with Onyx or some nicer hubs. 32 spoke design. Some of the other wheels that you've seen are 28 spoke, but these opt to run a 32 spoke design. This wheel set weighs in at roughly 1,880 grams, and according to We Are One, is the carbon wheel set designed to eliminate your doubts of what carbon rims can do. I think the downside to that claim is these are the stiffest wheels in the Roundup, barring some older Envy wheels from many years ago, might be some of the stiffest wheels that we've ever ridden. It affected the ride, in our opinions, on some of our bikes. Had us evaluating suspension setups, shock tunes, tire pressures, you name it, and we ended up taking the wheels off some of the bikes just to try to make sure that we weren't really unimpressed with the bike, and it was in fact with the wheel. But they're awesome looking wheels, like the fact that they're made in North America. They are a relatively decent price point, and if you are looking for something that is very stiff and reliable, you're not going to have to worry about, you know, replacing or blowing up a carbon wheel. We've heard nothing but good things in that aspect from We Are One Composites. The last wheel set up, I think our favorite, as I might have hinted at once or twice or 5 times already, the ZIPP 30 Motos. Why do we like these wheels so much? Beyond the fact that they look really cool, they have one of the best ride characteristics for what we are looking for in a wheel set. They offer compliance, they offer traction, they are supple, but they're also relatively stiff in the areas that we want stiffness. So like I said, you don't want a wheel that is super compliant and smooth and gives you all the great traction and suspension feel when you're going over rocks, but then when you hit a berm real hard, it feels super vague or like you're on a noodle that's just gonna collapse and fold underneath you. These are not the stiffest wheels in the corners when you are, you know, hitting those berms in high G scenarios with a ton of traction, but they are stiff enough for us, and the compliance and traction that you get, the reduction in flat tires, the reduction in foot and hand fatigue, make that more than worthwhile for us. So what ZIPP does is that they use their Moto technology, which allows the nipples to actually flex inside. They call it their ankle compliance technology, and essentially as that wheel leans over and impacts are coming up from underneath or wanting to push out from the side, the flex can come in just at that lower part. It allows the nipples to move inside that bed, similar to Moto or dirt bike tires or wheels. I think these would be the wheels that we would pick and recommend for most riders in that aggressive trail enduro e-bike category. If you're looking for the smoothest ride, the most comfort, traction, sensitivity, I think this is definitely something that we would suggest to the most amount of people. These are $2,000 wheels, so they are not cheap. They also weigh 1,880 some odd grams, so they're not the lightest, but they do give a superior ride quality in our opinion. They have a 275-pound rider weight limit as well. We are going to work on a carbon versus aluminum wheel video coming up here in the next couple of months. And we'd like to know, what are the points that are important to you? Is it durability? Is it ride quality? Is it that you can dent and ding an alloy wheel and keep riding, and you're worried about smashing a carbon wheel and it's destroyed and done for? We'd really like to know, what are the important things to you guys? Or price, maybe that's a valuable question to ask. So let us know down below what you guys think. We'd be happy to put those elements into consideration for our next video where we review carbon versus aluminum rims. Thank you guys again very much for watching. All of these wheels are available at competitivecyclist.com. Again, if you use Loam Wolf 15 on any applicable items on their website, it will give you a 15% discount on your first purchase. So thanks to them for making this video possible. Thanks to you guys for making it possible, and we hope to see you out on the trails.